We are live. Who all is here? Looks like we got a pretty full house already. We've got Lars, Unfinished Project, Don English, the One-Eyed Cat and his Road Toads, Functional Histories. Just got a notification that I'm live. Check that out. YouTube Services, stealthily going around dealing hard truths, part of the description. Engine Light Garage, Twisted Mopar Garage, and NSB Custom Cars. You guys usually show up right about the same time. Two guys with fast, big tire cars showing up together. Hot Rod Guy Garage got a notification this week. Good deal. So did I. I don't remember reminding myself about it. That's cool. RC Industry says hello from Southern Indiana. Well, hello, Rick. Glad you're here. One-Eyed Cat says dogs are a better judge at character. Dogs don't try to talk themselves out of a bad impression about someone. I think that's the deal. But Colleen Tebow is here. Levi's Backyard Performance says, good evening, gentlemen and women of the NNN gang. Don't say we're a gang. It's been said we're a cult. Pure Pontiac Garage John is here. RC Industries says, well, I tell you, I got a plan. He's got an old toolbox he wants to mount in the bed and a marine fuel tank to hide it. That's cool. Deke will still check the hidden tanks, but we don't care who you're hiding them from except him. Nick the Van Man 90. Been working on his van. I've got some updates. I'll let you check those out on his channel. Ron English is here. Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cuda. John is here. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Glad you could make it. Tony, are you live tonight? Mexican Spec. My Aunt Nancy's here. Glad you could make it too. Got to have dinner and dessert with my Aunt Nancy yesterday. It's a good week. Dan E. Boyd, Two Hacks Garage. Squirrel Power there. Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. My Aunt Nancy's sister, my mom. Here. Buck Does It. Frizzell Racing. I shared this on my page, on my community tab. If you haven't seen it, Bobby Frizzell's got a neat video on a top loader style Ford transmission. It's a race transmission, all new parts. The gears engage on the front, and so it's an aftermarket case and all that stuff, but it is all based on a Ford top loader, and it's a neat video. He shows how those work. It's what you consider a clutchless transmission, but he likes his to last more than a few passes, so he still uses the clutch, but it's one of those deals. It's like the gear jammer cars run. I think it's neat. So if you want to see what goes into a manual transmission, you can still drive on the street and still drive like you stole it and in a quick car. There's your video. Levi says, happy to be here. Just got my tow rig for No Name Nationals registered and everything. Are you talking about the ramp truck, Levi, by chance? Junkyard D, as in Junkyard Dakota, coming from the frozen north. Is it still permafrost up there, Junkyard D? Nick says you meet the nicest folks in a van, sometimes felon, but mostly nicest. We'll go with that. J-Bo is here. J-Bo, I tried to post you a link to that forward manual valve body comment, but I can't post them on Cope's channel, but it's funny. I would text it to you, you know, but you can't text through tin can and string cellular, so. Frizzell says, I got the Galaxy almost ready for testing. Right on. That's a cool car. I like it. Tony will be live tonight after, so that's cool. Works out good for him because he's in Arizona, so The time difference works out really well. Unfinished project says Fords and free puppies. Colleen says Frizzell's video was great. Yeah, I agree. Anytime. Thanks for making a cool video. We appreciate it. Yeah, that's definitely the better end of that deal. So Nick is getting Mike at Top Line Converter, Mike Iben, the torque converter whisperer. He's going to build a 9.5-inch converter for the van, so be looking for that. Same guy who built the bracket-winning torque converter for just Mopar Joe, and built converters for Dodge Whisper and the Jack Pine Savage, and lots of our friends is building one for Nick. Dizzy Izzy is here. Levi's saying, not the ramp truck. Well, maybe not this season. Every ramp truck is just an overdrive away from going more places. JB's little shop is here. Rick Salmon with his salmon-colored split window VW. What year is that, Rick? Is it a 52? 51? Or is it a later one with the split window kit? If you're willing to use the kit that puts the bar in there, you can do a split window all the way up to 57. Well, if you want to change the whole rear window plug, you can go even later than that. They didn't change the glass in the VW to make it larger until 65, so you could technically make a nice passable facsimile of a split window all the way up to 64 if you really wanted to. Heavens Mopar says, functional histories. Your 62 Lancer is loaded on the trailer and will be delivered to Jamie at Dead Dodge Garage tomorrow. Hope he can get it to run so he can see it at No Name Nationals. Well, that'll be interesting. Lars says, Suvax, I hope Rowdy is ready for that Delta 88. If you haven't seen it, our old buddy Rich 220 up there in New Jersey he says he's going to swap a 4-barrel and headers onto his Delta 88. I don't know about you, but I would pay front row seat to see Rich putting under chassis headers on that Oldsmobile. I don't think it'll happen, but it would be quite entertaining. Frizzell says, my ramp truck will make the drive from South Carolina to No Name with the Galaxy on the back this year. Oh, that'll be cool. So you have a matching ramp truck for that car? Oh, my. You know that if you bring a ramp truck, that there's going to be about 2 or 3 more next year, right? Because there's a lot of guys who would love to have one. Whoa, I'm already getting behind. Cultured Redneck Garages, I can't stop on. Want to say hi? Well, thanks for coming by, Kyle. We appreciate you. Very much looking forward to see what you bring this year. It's going to be cool. Max Wedge Dick Dastardly. That's a tongue tie. Doesn't happen very often. Rick Salmon says it's a 53, 54. Okay. So has yours had the bar put in, I guess, when you painted it to do the split window? Levi says, we got the overdrive, but due to work, it's not possible without sacrificing the car. Understood. Yeah, I get it. I get it. The clock and the calendar wait for no one, but fortunately, we just keep making progress. And if it doesn't happen one year, maybe it can happen another, and so forth and so on. The big thing is it doesn't need to become a one of these years things. Red Beard tells 2 Hacks he's loving that dragster. Well, who doesn't? Isn't that a cool project? That's really cool. I actually sent Jeff a link to a fiberglass body. I said, here, you should just drop that on it. You should drop that on it like a retro funny card and come out the next round with the fiberglass body gone. Oh, wait, what's that? Dean Stevenson is here from the other side of the world. He says, unlike Auto Salvage Outlaws, I can still eat. Well, I hope Auto Salvage Outlaws is doing the best he can. I know that he said he came home from the hospital and he's feeling rough, but we wish him all the best. Hopefully he'll stop in for long. There's Jeremy Finley. Jeremy Finley. I have your number. I do need to get with you though. I've got something I'm needing to get on the short list. So I will make it a point and holler at you. What in the world is in your thumbnail? Is that a side-by-side or something? Oh, 77 Ford Ram. Yeah, right on. That'll match that car. Jeremy, you need to come out and check out this show of Misfits in Sikeston this year. September 19th through the 21st in Sikeston, Missouri, which is about 2 hours straight north of Memphis. So it'd be worth your while to come out. It's a lot of fun. Nick the Van Man says Oldsmobiles are rough to do headers on. Let me tell you, it's a not happening thing, but I would love to see under chassis headers on that car. It would be hilarious. Lars is wanting to get another shirt from Tony. Cool. Gunslinger Graphics doing a lot of shirts for the community, which I think is cool. Mexican Spec says, I can't imagine driving a ramp truck with a big old car over my head the whole time. Maybe. I think you get used to it. But I don't know. I don't have a ramp truck. Well, Dean, hopefully he can stop in and he'll get a good handle on his health and everything, and hopefully we'll get to meet him in person here for too long. Evans Mopars is delivering a Lancer at 62 and picking up a complete rooftop from A to C pillar for the Charger. Okay, right on. Going to be fun to watch. Buff's Garage is here. What's going on, Mr. Buff? Brazil confirms you don't even notice it's back there. Buff, we got a lot of new things going on for No Name Nationals this year. Looks like where last year was kind of the year of the Pontiac, this looks to be the year of the Ford. Lots of cool stuff coming out. Bad Tree Production says Heathens assembled. Indeed. Got my heathen wear on. Now, Rick says it's one of the last split windows. Okay, that's cool. I haven't seen all that many split windows in my life, so that's cool. So Frizzell's saying a really big flatbed. So your ramp truck is one of those that just has the long flatbed, the big dovetail on the end, as opposed to the wedge style that keeps the car up at an angle. Those do kind of weird me out a little bit, but they look cool going down the road, that's for sure. Especially if you got a lot of chrome and coated headers and stuff like that under the car. Bad Tree greets Jason. One-eyed Cat Don says, I'm still here. Don and I were talking yesterday trying to work out travel plans to get his 727 to him. That will soon be happening. Unfinished Project says Death Pumpkin. So we're hoping to see some cool stuff out of the Death Pumpkin this year. It's a cool car. Turbo Tom's in the house. How you doing, man? Tony's Hot Rod Garage says that will be a car again. Indeed it will. Cultured Redneck Garage Kyle says my Weber carbs are done. Got my stroker crank in. Waiting on me to port the heads before sending the case to the machine shop. Hopefully the sand rail will scoot a little bit faster. Right on. That's going to be neat. Actually, had someone send me a picture of a road tractor and said, "Can this go down the track?" I'm like, "Sure can." Andrew Nelson, you might have been in here and heard me say I'm working on when I'm going to take my transmission up to Don, and I need to get with you to see when you'll be there. I'd like to make my circuit up to see him and come see you. While I'm way up north. For me, that's way up north. 6% recycled is here. How's it going? Glad you could make it. Danny Boyd says, I saw a picture of a prototype Beetle, no back window, just vents. A lot of the wartime production. So the Beetle, I believe, first came out. It was supposed to come out in 1938. And there's a pretty famous picture of the dedication of the factory, and Hitler is there, and Ferdinand Porsche is there. And it's 1938. And then what happened? World War II. And, you know, the factory got bombed and all of that stuff. And then the British took over, reopened the factory in 1945. But the wartime production stuff was wild. Like, had the vented back windows and little staff cars with no doors on them, and the Schwimmwagen that's got the amphibious stuff. It's just wild. I love all that stuff from World War II that Volkswagen made, including what you're describing. Shoe goo, I lost my shoe on the starting line. Well, you couldn't lose your shoe on the starting line last year at Sykeston. You could the year before, but we're working on that one. Rick Salmon said, I had a 51 split window, but my ex gave me the Dallas Brown treatment. It was sold. Well, Dallas managed to hang on to all of his cars, so far. Oh, man, that's a bummer. 51 split window. That's neat. Brazil says that's a link to my ramp truck. I didn't see a link from you for your ramp truck, but I'll tell you what, Brazil, if you want to email me that link, I'll put it up. Don's planning his build for the No Name Nationals. That sounds excellent. Yeah, man, just want to talk with you about a roof. Jeremy Finley, a fine roofer in a town full of so-called roofers. He's a real roofer, so he stands out. So I need to talk with him about getting a roof done. Max Wage Dick Dasher says, burnout competition would be fun. I don't need to get any crazier with my car. Can't afford to break anything. Well, it looks to me like you'd be more in for the bracket, but you can enter anything you want. Have it made up my mind if I'm going to go mechanical fuel injection or for carburetors in the Hemi. What do you all think? I think whatever you want to do. I'd like to see you come out to No Name Nationals, because I'm here to tell you, I think we're going to have some faster cars. Lots of fast sharks circling the boat right now. So Frizzell says it's on a community post. That's cool. If UP or Lars or one of the mods can put up the link to that, that'd be pretty cool. If Frizzell emailed it to me, I'll do my super low-tech Zoom. Bad Tree says, I heard rumors that the Beetles were basically stolen design from Chrysler Prototype. You might be talking about that, what they make in the 30s, that Airflow or whatever that thing was, an aerodynamic one that had an exoskeleton with a metal skin put on it. That might be what you're talking about, but I don't know. Andrew Nelson says carburetors. There you go. Unfinished projects, and be careful listening to Hitler's speeches translated. You might surprise yourself. I don't know. There's a lot of things I think would surprise people. A lot of history would surprise people. Tavo is here. Cultured Redneck says, I'd love to find me an oval window to cow look before I die. Okay. Chrysler Airflow. Yeah, that's what I was thinking it was called. Something like that. Yeah, but it was still an unconventional method of building the coachwork for the day. But yeah, that's fair. Exo comes into once you put the skin on top. Right, sort of. Tavo says the Airflow was copied by Toyota way back when, almost identically. Well, that's cool. I didn't know that. Toyota's a pretty old company. We don't think about that because we're only familiar with, what they brought here beginning in around the early 70s. Redbeard says, as long as I don't blow up the engine between then and now, I'm 100% planning. I'll be there at No Name Nationals 3. Well, we hope you're there regardless whether you can bring the car or not. Still hope you'll make a trip out, come hang out. Danny Boyd's talking about the 300 inline sixes. Okay. Levi likes any old ramp truck. I like ramp trucks. I think they're neat. Den of Dreams Garage is here. Den of Dreams Garage, you finally have company as another person has crossed the finish line in the No Name 500 this year. So you were the first to do it. And then Sean O'Brien just did it a couple days ago. So that makes 2 of our No Name 500 contenders locked in now. Rick Salmon says the VW lost a lawsuit to Tatra for design theft. Okay, that's interesting. RC likes the 225 Leaning Tower of Power. Yeah, Flight 6 is cool. It is. We got a good class this year. So we've got several more. No Name 500 is building up. 180 days, 3 hours, 37 minutes. The first 2 have punched their tickets. Indeed, they have. We're getting close to 100 people have come through the No Name 500 now. Danny Boyd says 326,000 miles of my 97 Corolla. Well, he'd have to hurry to catch up to the CRV. I'm pushing 352. Hot Rod Guy Garage is 180 days, right? And 3 hours and 36 minutes. And technically that's until midnight. So you want to work through the nights, you can fudge a little more time in that too. Bad Tree saw a Tesla in town the other day. I'm sorry. About seeing a serious note, Bad Tree, where do you charge a Tesla around where you are? Does McGregor have anywhere to charge him? Or are you just looking for a house where somebody's out of town and an outlet on the porch or something? I mean, where would you charge a Tesla where you are? You have to go across the river? That's a serious question. Yeah, those things are. My cousin has one, knows those lithium batteries make raging fires hard to put out, and parks it in her garage and charges it in her house. I mean, people think that just happens to other people. I think that's nuts. Those things are dangerous. And all the neighbors can do is just watch it burn. Fire department can't even hardly put the things out. Scarlett's at 213. He's right. He's narrowing in on that halfway break, and the second 250 come much quicker than the first. Just got to get in the groove, making content. Brazil sent me an email. Here we go. Here's the ramp truck Brazil has. Oh, cool. Check this out. That is all kinds of cool. What is that, a T18 4-speed in that? Bobby, what engine transmission you got in the ramp truck? That's neat. Lots of the slant six, lots of Hemi sixes there. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. You're in Australia. That's right. You said off to our states. Okay. Oh, I get it. Well, we rarely see those here. I know that. Okay, J-Bo says you do have a Tesla charger there. Okay. Lars sent me a picture too for Zell's rig as well. And while I'm looking at it, my friend Thomas sent me something that he's working on. He's an engineer and always does kinds of stuff like this. I don't even know what he's working on half the time, but he does neat stuff, 3D print stuff, design stuff in AutoCAD. Neat fella to know. I'm surprised gas stations don't have charging docks. A lot of them do. The Sheets here does. Never see it used. No, of course not. They did it for the tax credits, not because you need it. Tall Garage says Audi. Tall Garage. 1 week from tonight, we're going to have on March the 29th our live stream that is specially made for newcomers and those that want more information about attending the No Name Nationals. We're going to go through all of the No Name Nationals 101 questions. So all those kind of things. If you've never been to the No Name Nationals, if you've never been down the track before and all that good stuff, that will be the live stream for you. And of course, everyone is welcome. And we encourage all of you guys to come because the chat needs to tell the new folks what your experiences there are like. And we'll have guests and it'll be a good time. That'll be a week from tonight on the 29th. Battery says we have 2 charging stations, and in 2 years, he's seen 1 car using it. Okay, that's about right, yeah. Normally, it's just an enormous waste of parking. That's what they are here. Nick the Van Man's going to race a Tesla. Okay, I mean, they're fast. They're quick cars. It's not my bag. Danny Boyd says 77 F350. Indeed. What year's yours, Danny Boyd? Looks like a 76, 75, 6, or 7 in the picture. New process 4-speed. Okay. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. This is a 435. Is that what it is? I think that's what they put in the Dodge trucks, MP435. I like that transmission. Big Mike's Hoopty Barn. What did I miss? We're just having a good time, Mike. Thanks for swinging by. I wore my Big Mike's Hoopty Barn number 11 shirt yesterday. I'm going to be rotating through some of the different channel designs on live streams. And that being one of them. Unfinished project, put up the link to the video on the ramp truck. Cool, thank you. Just Mopar Joe is here. Says, all right, Mopar people. Just Mopar Joe put up a video running his Barracuda on slicks, and he had some exciting results his last outing over the weekend. So go there and check that out. Bad Tree Blake equates racing a Tesla to running the fastest 40 time in the Special Olympics. I'll tell you what, that Tesla racing channel, that thing is quick. But, I mean, so is your circular saw. If you plug it in and if the button is wedged on a board and it flies off the end of the board, well, that's quick too, but doesn't necessarily mean it's cool. Levi says, just Mopar Joe is getting ready to put a spanking on us in the 10.5 class. He's come to the dark side with slicks. You never want to count Joe out or underestimate him, that's for sure. Bad Tree Blake says very little sleep. Can understand that. Twisted Dennis said it was 65 today, high 40 tomorrow. I don't know what it was here. It was just cold. I'm hoping this cold gets it out of the system. I'm hoping next week I can get out and start mowing. My goal is always to have blades of spinning on the mower by April 1 because I got 4 lawns I mow. So I need to get on with the program. I got my belt for deck service and everything, and been using a little bit of this early spring here and there to get everything squared away and ready to go. I got some tree limbs I need to cut up, and anyway, it's about that time. Tavo says No Name National sounds like a great concept. It's more than a concept, man. It's a thing. This will be the 3rd annual coming up in September. Tavo says this whole country is a nanny state. Here's the deal. You can come to the No Name Nationals here. I mean, you certainly can. Fly into St. Louis. Come have a great time. Dakota said, great experience, as much racing as your car can handle. Yeah, you get to make a lot of passes. It's structured that way so that there's lots of time for test and tune and making time runs. So it's great for that. Laura says it's like a family reunion you actually want to go to. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Buff seconds that. Danny Boyd's is a 77 150 as opposed to 77 F350. Dakota, who is afraid with every comment he's going to break something, said he only did 7 passes and he was really scared to break something. Dakota, that's the best place other than your driveway that you can break something. You're around a whole bunch of people who know you and like you and will help you get your car fixed. That's the best place to break something. It'll probably be in better shape to go back than it was to come down. Don't worry about it. If everything's in good order, come on down, run. If you break something, we'll help you square it away. Not only that, the new track operator is Possum, and Possum's shop is back behind the track, literally, like right behind the track where we do the burnout competition. You can walk to it. It's right back in there. I mean, I know Rick from RC Industries, he had a modulator valve put in back there at Possum's shop last year. So Possum is, we got him, we got the whole crew here. So we're in good shape. Just get there, race, have a good time. If something goes awry, you're far from stranded. You'll be in good shape. Buff says Dakota's timeout. I need to line up against the other brother now. Indeed. Big Mike says MP435 is what's in the Blockbuster. Wow, that's a lot of transmission for a car. That's what I was thinking. I knew you had a truck transmission of some kind in there. Mater, yeah, you can be. Come on out. Come to that live stream. And just anybody, come on out, check it out. But the purpose of the live stream is going to be to tell new people all of the 101 type questions. UOGs and folks who've been there the last 2 years, a lot of those will be questions you know and are familiar with and have been there and done that. Or maybe you were the ones who got that question originated the first time. But that's what the stream will be for. But yeah, you're certainly welcome. One-Eyed Cat says, I've tried the charging station. My plug-in is antiquated. I want to go sit down at one of those charging stations and just plug in the laptop and cell phone and use it for a better purpose than sitting there waiting for a car nobody's bringing. So you can tell those things are all done with some kind of tax credits because you'd never have a gas station put a whole bunch of pumps in just to have sitting there to look at. Busted Radio Garage is in the house. Hello, Chris. Rabbit Transit Garage J is here. How are y'all? Busted Radio Garage sees a Ranger out in traffic, and it's got two young fellas in it wearing motorcycle helmets in the truck. Look like dirt bike helmets. That's pretty cool. You never know what you're going to see in your travels. Ron English said, did anyone know Dawn 62 was the first attempt at an EV? It still has the retractable cord. Yeah, there's video of that somewhere. Andrew Nelson says the diesel generator at the hotel charging all the electric cars cracks me up. I didn't realize they had a diesel generator doing it, but that does. So they don't even have that on the wired power grid of the hotel. They have it on a generator. I had no idea. BRG has entered the building, Laura says. Chris makes an entrance with his demo derby style stacks on Homer. Dakota says, I'm a little faster than my brother. Well, you're not faster if he makes it and you don't. It's the fastest car that goes down the track, not the fastest car that doesn't. Anyway, I do hope it works out for one or both of Dakota and Hunter, the brothers, there to make it. We'd certainly like to see them again. Big Mike says howdy to everyone in the chat. That video was slick, Joe, no pun intended. Just Mopar Joe says, functional. Can you write Hoosier on my back tires? Yeah, Victor, what's the surcharge for stencil and Hoosier on the back tires? I don't know if Don emailed me or not. Nope. RC Industry says, I think I'm going to make some sound tunnels for my 74 Dodge pickup to make it sound like a Hemi. Okay. What kind of sound tunnels are you talking about? Just Mopar Joe says that slicks cure a lot of things. Yeah. Slicks are interesting. Chat's a moving. Blake had to remind me. But he's right. It is. I'm getting behind on. That's okay. Chatty bunch tonight. Coda says, if I wasn't so far away, I'd go again and not think twice about it. But I traveled 8 hours in a 50-year-old car that's falling apart. Getting ready to take my 38-year-old van up to 39-year-old van up to Pennsylvania and not think twice about it. Like I've taken it to Chicago a couple of times and not thought twice about it, and taken it to Georgia and not thought twice about it, and taking it to Sykeston and not thought twice about it. You can do it, Dakota. Was anybody else driving that far in an old car? Oh my gosh, did you not look around? There were all kinds of people driving old cars. Are you kidding? Dakota. AHRA Guy Garage says the No Name Nationals is a place not to worry about breaking. I'd agree with that. I'm gonna slide up, get caught up in the chat. I don't normally get behind in the chat, but I did tonight. 25 to rent a truck. There's no 25 to rent a truck that I know of. Functional History's got his first troll this week. Feels like it's a rite of passage. Oh, there's plenty of them to go around. Brazil wants to locate some 28s or 275s to do some testing. Okay, but I'll tell you what, if you want to get a 28 by 10 and a half inch tire, you better pack a lunch. That's a mean class. Frank McCart Rivet and F100, one of my favorite usernames on the platform of YouTube. Just Mopar Joe says Mopars need to go to the front in all classes this year. Well, let's help make that happen. The bracket has been won by Mopar 2 years in a row. Just saying. Dr. Go, another one of my favorite usernames, with what looks like a destroyed Duster with slots on the back. I think I asked him about that one time. Yeah, I'm catching up. Buff's Garage says it took me 12 hours and I brought 2 pieces of garbage in a ratty old RV. Let me tell you, Buff lives the lifestyle. He drives his stuff. I mean, look what Dalton drove there in 22. I mean, Hot Rod Guy Garages will be the first time my Torino has been out of the Tennessee and North Georgia area since it was new. Wow. Trolls keep it interesting. They keep it simple, that's for sure. I actually read where one of my favorite trolls, that little dingleberry Mr. Swinger 1, said, and he watches this religiously and takes notes furiously for his Uncle Brian. He put a comment that said that Uncle Tony's Garage and the No Name Nationals were the downturn of the YouTube automotive community. We mark the downturn of, I guess, his viewing experience, and yet he lives for it. Rabbit Transit Garages, I'll be driving either the Barracuda or Dart to No Name Nationals this year, one on the road, one on the trailer. Cool. How about trailer one with the other? That'd be neat. I knew a guy who trailered a Barracuda, an E-body Barracuda race car with his Barracuda convertible. And he came down the interstate from Pulaski, Virginia to Princeton, West Virginia with that setup too. Oh my gosh, I don't know how much tongue weight was on that trailer. It was an old trailer made out of a mobile home with the brakes. It had the mobile home axles. I don't think it had any brakes. It had so much tongue weight that it looked like a squatted CUDA convertible going down the road. I can't believe he towed with that, but he did. Frizzell, there is a class. We have a class that is 28.10.5 or 275 or smaller, okay? And that's a heads-up class, has a $100 buy-in. We run it on Saturday, but you can run whatever you want on Friday. Or you can run, but just that one class has a spec tire that size or smaller. No, but you can get in the bracket with it. All the tire will fit. Or call outs or test and tune. And I'll tell you, I would encourage you, especially since it's your first year, come to the live stream that's a week from tonight. That will be a really good one for you to check out. It's just for new folks. Dr. Go says that was a Duster until 76, yeah. Heavens Mopar says I have a loyal troll that gets irritated when I post anything other than Charger content. Whatever. It's your channel. People on the sidelines are interesting, aren't they? Tall Garage is Mr. Swinger's an odd fella. Yeah. Buff says square body Chad pulled in with one annihilated trailer tire that he ran for at least an hour. Buff, you had, what was it, 2 flats on the same trip, and Chad had one? I don't want to jinx myself. I have yet to have a flat tire going back and forth to Sykeston. So here's a picture, an update Dennis sent me of Brian's car. So he's got a little update going on. He's got his wings, so clearly that means he plans to get to about 120 in the 8th. He's got his, let's look at Brian's bumper stickers he's got going on here. He's got No Name Nationals. He's got whatever that is. I'm not sure what that is. Plymouth Duster, William. He's got the Dust Devil Garage. Yeah, it's a little tough to read. And then whatever this is. Oh, it's this YouTube services guy. Yeah, I wonder what his real channel is, his real handle. Buff's Garage says, I had 4 total flats there. I'm back on the first annual No Name Nationals. Now it just seems to be a thing on YouTube. Flat tires. Well, I'll tell you, 4 total in one trip is a lot. Colleen, we have all kinds of stuff. It's funny, like they don't ever mention things like the Jack Pine Savage, that beautiful car, and they never mention that. Big Mike says, I had a smooth trip there and back until I buried the truck in the Blue Goose in the driveway. Oh my goodness, yes. Mike, we went mud bogging with those. Buff said, I brought spares. Yeah, I've gotten a flat tire. I got 2 flat tires in the same trip, and of course I had 1 spare. And somewhere, I think I was in southern North Carolina. I think I was just north of Charlotte somewhere. I ran over a truck tire carcass, got 2 flat tires. I had one that went flat instantly, and one was just a slow leak, but it was leaking fast enough I was not going to get home. So I changed one of them on the roadside because it was just gone. And then the other one, I managed to change with just a couple of bars and a can of starting fluid. And it was a lot of fun. Levi says, Colleen, they're usually scared to talk about us fast guys. They're scared to show up. I'll tell you what, we're going to find out who runs the low ET this year. We'll see. The thing about fast cars is they're temperamental, and so much can happen between now and then. That's what happened last year. We had a lot of guys break and didn't wind up getting in. I don't know. The finished project wasn't me. Apparently, wasn't you. Apparently, maybe he deleted it. I don't know. Just Mopar Joe said, the man who is lightening up his GM. Yeah, if you want to see the Laguna get lightened up, it's happening. Tavo says, I had 5 flat tires on my trailer not going anywhere. Cheap garbage valve stems rotted. Yeah, that could happen. Freck McCart Rivet F100 says, Buff is an animal. He is definitely a drive what you got type of guy. Sure, yeah. I think it was Buff and I a long time ago were talking about catching a bus or something and driving a car or something like that. We were talking about doing that. He was wanting to do something and like, just do it, man. I encourage the sketchy stuff, but I do it too. So Dinner Dreams Garage has had that happen twice on the banana pickup. Valve stems rotted off. It could happen. Catching a bus and driving a car back from Texas. Yes. Yeah, that was it. Mater says, we know Turbo Tom holds the record for the slowest pass. Maybe. 17 seconds in a Model T Ford. Not even 2 years old. I believe that. Some parts are just, they don't have any longevity. I never said it should have gotten left up or shouldn't or anything. I just know one thing. I definitely, this is not a debate channel or engaged trolls channel or any of that. I'll laugh at them every now and then, but that's about it. Busted Radial says still faster than anyone who didn't show up. That is a fact. The 17-second Model T that did show up was faster than the quickest 6-second car that didn't. That is correct. Yeah, we've had some people who've made noise about coming the last 2 years and this year. See, but eventually, if you talk about coming 3 years in a row and don't, now it's like, well, where do you go from there? Buff is envious of Frank McCart-Rivet and F100's ride. What do you have there, Frank? So you've got a mid-70s F100 in your thumbnail there. I never really took as much a liking to that F100 as I did the 6789. I just thought those bump side trucks were just great looking trucks. Buff said, I had the fastest 63 Pontiac Grand Prix at the first No Name Nationals. Indeed, you did. Brazil Racing said, everyone's car is fast on jack stands in the garage. You have to watch out for the jack stand mafia. I love that. The jack stand mafia. You win the comments for that one right there, Frizzell. That's a good one. Joe says 181. Yeah, it's 180 days and 3 hours and 7 minutes. Danny boy, that is my favorite body style of Ford truck. There's a black F100 long bed. I think it's a 68, and it's just like 3-4 blocks from here. And it has one of those yellow Virginia, it's either an antique or a don't tread on me tag, but they stuck it up in the windshield. And so just driving by, I thought it was a for sale sign. I stop, and I go look. Hey, YouTube services. So what's your actual channel handle? This is the one that you say the stuff on that you wouldn't say on your normal channel handle, I have a feeling. I'm not saying you say anything bad. I'm just saying that I have a feeling that you've got an alter ego that you're using there with the YouTube services that you have a primary channel we're more familiar with. I suspect. I don't know that, but I suspect that. I mean, that channel's only been around since November 23rd, and it seems to know everything we're doing better than somebody who's only been around a few months. Colleen, you should put those on your community tab. Dean says, I live for shadow trolling. I could even see that being Dean. He has a kiwi in the little kiwi emoji. Frank McCart-Rivet F100 says, I have a 73 F100 short box, bare metal art, and bomber paint. My rat mod. Okay. What engine's in that? Sounds pretty cool. Levi says the first truck I ever got running was a 79 Ford 460 4x4. That's cool. I am Cortrolio. Any relation to Cornholio, Beavis? Dakota wants to know if Buff is going to get rid of the LS in his Pontiac. He says only trust if it's a real Kiwi. Buff is saying, yes, it'll have the LS for power too, or haven't built the Pontiac engine yet. So apparently it is going Pontiac at some point. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know much about Kiwis. I know I blew one up one time. That was pretty cool. Dakota says, Buff, if you ever want to beat me or Hunter, you need that Pontiac engine. Buff says, I do in fact own a Pontiac block I'm rebuilding to drop into said slammed pre. I got to tell you, I admired that Buff thrashed and thrashed where he could make a victory lap in the pits. That was pretty cool. He made it happen. Frank McCart says, what motor is in Rivet in? One that doesn't like to run 351 Windsor. Okay, so your F100's got the 351 Windsor. That's cool. Mostly Old Parts Wrong Ward is here. Thanks for joining us. Rich Rusnick says, I'm no good at trolling. I get figured out. Was that you, Rich Rusnick? Doesn't read like you. Buff says, Dakota's timeout. You talk like you're actually going to show up. Ooh. Not this year, maybe a future one. Well, Dakota, don't let it hold you back. You know you can do it. Yeah, YouTube's got this. YouTube services. Yeah, there's something about dealing hard truths and this stuff. And probably, if I had to guess, it's probably the guy that spoofed the No Name Nationals channel or something. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of the hiding behind username stuff. It's just not my style. Yeah, well, Buff, you know where to find him. I swung by Dakota's and did a little video of their flathead V8 and their tractor and their other stuff there. Cool folks. And I got the time Dakota out in person. So that was cool. Kevin's Rust is here. Yeah, Dakota's up in that northwest corner of Georgia. Dean Stevenson, that's why I gave John Wilbert all my usernames. You got all mine. It's right there. It's just keep it simple. Mexican Spec says, Dakota, if you have the money, you buy a truck and trailer, and after the race, you sell them for a profit to cover your expenses, and it's a free trip. Well, I guess you could bring something, bring it, race it, sell it, whatever. You could do that. Oh, I don't doubt that. I mean, I think where Mr. Swinger ones go to entertainment too. You know? Oh, goodness. Looking forward to bringing another cool and interesting variety of stuff for Ron Ward to get to check out and call from the tower. Ron, a fella asked me, sent me a picture today of a road tractor and say, hey, is a cab over road tractor. Say, can this go down the track at No Name Nationals? I said, well, of course. The guy's got his subs. He's interested. So we may have an old road tractor out there. Slow down on the top end with the Jake brake and everything. Andy says he's taking a break from porting a Street Dominator. And if you want to see some signs, Colleen says they're for sale. They're on the Mopars, Mustangs, and Minivans community page. Cool. Yeah, Dakota's saying that the 455 in his car is sick right now, but he's going to put a low compression back in it. Cool. Just get rolling and running, and it'll be all good. We got all kinds of diversity at that event, Dawn. We sure do. Model Ts, road tractors, cars, trucks, monkey bikes, you name it. Bad Tree Production says, well, Will Burners, Heathens, and Mopar People's Peace. Glad you could swing by tonight, Blake. We appreciate you, man. Ron says, I've seen an Alice Chalmers run over 100 miles an hour at an ECTA in Arkansas. Okay. So if that happens again, Junk Car Willie, a member of our community, will be covering it, I'm sure. Buff's Garage says, if I put a Tokyo Tornado on the LS, I'm sure I could just roll past you. That sounds like something right out of Fast and Furious 2. Max Wedge Dick Dastry, the guy who has all of the adapter plates in the known universe, says, I have Dominator adapter plates if anyone needs. Andy's wanting to know when Chris from Busted Radio Garage is going to fire up the blower motor in Homer. It's going to be this week. Oh, yeah, we have a Continental kit too. This week. Well, that'll be cool. Dakota is trying to convince Buff of the virtues of the stock 78 400. Most of the old parts is a Wuhong Whistler is better than a Tokyo Tornado. Oh, goodness. Does the Wuhong Whistler come with its own virus, or is it healthy? Just Mopar Joe says, I got to go to 108 miles an hour in Arkansas last weekend, 660 feet. The car's moving now. Hot Rod Guy Garage, the Wuhan war whistles work best. Oh, goodness. Joe's running 108 in the eighth. Car is moving on. At the first no-name nationals, he won the bracket with a bunch of 722s, and he is way past that now. Danny Boyd says, no sleep to Wuhan. There you go. Joe says the Shanghai Spinner. You guys need to name the turbos for these companies. I'm telling you, they're missing out. The Hiroshima hair dryer. Chris wants to know what the 60-foot times are. I'm curious what Linda's going to run, because I know that Chris is retooling that car for the drag strip, so we will see. Oh, yeah, I knew that would happen. So now most of the old parts Ron Ward can't get the Beastie Boys. It's stuck in his head. Hey, Ron Ward, whatever you do, don't think of the song Sabotage and get it stuck in your head. You're welcome. Joe says, I'm only at a 140 with the 850 carbon, 30 degrees of timing. Okay. And Brass Monkey, yeah. Right. Ron says Beastie Boys and cake are my jams. I wouldn't have thought of that. Dougster says Dakota, my 413 will make an appearance for sure. Yeah, Scarlett says, I like how Joe says only a 140. Exactly. That car is getting quicker and quicker. And Joe has so far avoided having anything on the wall back here. This is where you don't really want to be memorialized back here. That's an expensive place to be right here. think we're going to have all the best hits up here by the end of the night. Intergalactic planetary. That's what you have when the drum blows up on a 727. Joe's got the tree down pretty good. I don't need a tree. I can use a sundial. Andy's singing. Andy, do you want a link? Do you want to come in here and sing for us? You're welcome to. Joe's going to be in the 1-3s, I'm sure. Although this time of year, slicks, the track's good. If he can keep these times into the heat of summer, he'll be even quicker come fall. So, thanks for swinging in, Rick. We appreciate you. Always good to see you in here. If Andy wants to sing, he's welcome to. We've got him on music again. Ron Ward's talking about Cake's rendition of War Pigs. Functional History says, I've also got 1/64th scale trees coming for the drag strip diorama. This is a good Deke question. I've never used that. The nickel copper for brake lines. I know it's DOT approved. I've always used steel, even though steel's a lot harder and it's a struggle. But yeah, that's a good question. Kevin, if you would, email me and I'll get that question to Deke. We're also going to have Deke on a couple of live streams this year to talk about passing tech. That's a really good one to be there for, okay, with our tech inspector, Deke Denny. But if you would, you can email me that one. I'll go ahead and get it to him. John@PrincetonDragway.com. My email's in my channel description. I'll get it to our tech inspector if you send it that way too. Buff says, I still have my real job, so I got to go. Later, all. Thanks for coming by, Buff. We appreciate you. Oh, 400 blocks away to go, Max Wedge Dick Dastardly. Yeah, Ron says that his buddy uses nickel copper lines exclusively. Yeah, I'm old school. I still use the steel, but it is aggravating to work with. Dakota, the thing is, you've already passed it once. So all of the stuff you needed to do to catch up to pass it, you've done. I mean, once somebody finally begrudgingly gets a battery hold down and, puts the hard line in and gets rid of, 14 feet of rubber hose from the fuel tank and all these other things, and they actually make those upgrades, now you're good. I've not done stainless. I actually have put in stainless steel lines, but they were already flared and everything. I know it takes a 37-degree single flare on stainless, and they are different to work with. But the steel is tough. Country Mile Garage, how's it going? Thanks for swinging by. Country Mile Garage usually has a live stream going. I'll see him in the evenings. What's your regular time on that Country Mile Garage? Do you have a regular time that you do that? With Raging Cajun and crew? Dr. Doe said, I wish I had a local drag strip so I can truly see how slow my car actually is. I would need to leave the line on Saturday morning to ensure the track wouldn't close Sunday before I hit the finish line. Yeah, well, there you go. You can get a draggy then. Well, Tall Garage, it's what we have. But you know what? I can see some changes coming on the horizon for the rule book. So, Country Mile Garage goes live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Yes, I knew there was a time he had. I couldn't remember exactly which day it was. I know when I see him live, I usually like to stop in there. So he's live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Got a good little crew over there. Different folks. Most of the old part says, is anyone going to have a nitrous filling station or no name nationals? We can work that out. Dallas has a friend that does it, and we can work out having nitrous there if we need it. But we need more response to people that want to have nitrous filling capability there. Tavo says that my quarter mile times are recorded on a calendar. I hear that. Hot Rod Guy Garage is not a fan of the stainless brake lines. There's something to work with. Rick Simmons says, Tavo, you don't drive a VW? I'm a fan of the old air-cooled stuff. I love it. Brazil says, what kind of shutdown does that track have? Some of these old outlaw tracks have a really short shutdown. Sykeston has 1,300 feet. 1,300 feet before you get to Sykeston Beach. We have yet to have anybody get in the beach. Now One-Eyed Cat's thinking about nitrous. Oh, my goodness, Don. Levi says he's seen plenty of three-second pro mod shutdown. Yeah, pro mods have run at that track plenty of times and get shut down. Nope. Danny Boy, slow cars, louder. No. Besides, it's even worse. That's even worse, a slow car running a quarter. Get up and go to the restroom waiting for the car to get there. Ron's saying his Roadrunner is slow. It's faster than mine. Dr. Go with the Munch Duster in his picture there says he flipped the Duster 3 times airborne before striking a utility pole 10 feet off the ground and landed upside down. Not a good day, but fortunate to survive after emergency surgery the next day. Well, we're glad you're still here. And hopefully some parts of that car live on to tell the tale. 0 to 60 in eventually. There you go. Functional histories. You're going to blow it up. How are you going to get it back if you blow it up? How are you going to get it back anyway? Lars says the No Name Nationals burnout competition is second to none, if you ask me. I'm not arguing that. Under the lights, huge pit. Those guys throw down. If tires were bodies, the pits would look like Jonestown the day after on Saturday morning. Push it with the rabbit. And what are you going to do, functional histories? If you get the car to Sykes, then how are you going to get it to your part of the country? Turbo Tom says, if I'd had the quarter mile, I would have made it to 42 miles an hour. Right on. That is definitely, by far, the oldest car I have ever ridden in. Turbo Tom's 1916 Model T Ford. Indirect connections. I'm thinking, seeing if Just Mopar Joe can push the satellite down the track so I can break into the nines. We should put a tow bar on the front. We'll see if he'll put a hitch ball on the back of the Barracuda. Dust Devil Garage is not as big a fan of the quarter. I get it. People like the quarter, all this, the quarter's sacred, but truth be told, you're right. Cars that are geared for the 8th make an exciting show in the 8th. Jonestown, that's a dark reference. I'll tell you what. It's okay. Quarter mile racing's okay. I mean, when you have cars that aren't 18 seconds. Yeah. Well, I like watching quarter mile fuel racing. I thought I saw Corey McClenathan get killed at the quarter mile at Bristol one time, running the Fram dragster and top fuel, and he had a chassis brake on it, had a weld brake, and that chassis folded up like an accordion and burst into flames. I thought he was dead. I was in the stands at Bristol when that happened, but he survived it. Not only did he survive it, they got a backup car out, and he actually made the first round the next day. Oh, yeah, Lars got to start that car. That's cool. Hope to see that if Tom's bringing the Model T again. Mostly old parts says he prefers quarter mile, can have a good time in the 8th too. Yeah, you can have a great time. You have a great time wherever you go. With a manual transmission, you got to be spot on in the 8th. This is true. There is less room for mistakes, period, in the 8th. Scarlett says 2 19-second Yugos in the quarter is what you call anticipation. .38 says, I grew up thinking quarter was the way. I definitely like running the 8th. We are definitely going toward the 8th. That is becoming the standard. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying it should be. I'm just saying that it is. The world is going to 8th mile. It's kind of like left-handed people. Look, not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you live in a right-handed world, and you know that. And quarter mile is cool, but the world is going to 8th. Just like I don't see the quarter going back. I don't see top fuel going back to quarter ever now. And if I'm honest, those cars were just holding on, trying not to blow up the last 320 feet anyway. That's really what they were doing. Those cars are flying. They're quicker and faster now in the 1,000 than they were in the 1320 anyway. Ron Ward says, with cars over 200 miles an hour in the 8th, I'm sure insurance companies and track owners are probably scared to death of quarter mile speeds. I agree. I totally agree. I remember watching cars running 200 in the 8th 15 years ago. I mean, yeah. There is plenty of speed happening in 660 feet now. Easier to have an 8th mile track, especially around here. It's so mountainous around here. A quarter plus all the shutdown that's a lot of real estate to come up with. I heard he made a top fuel debut, Tony Stewart did, but I didn't see it. More power to him. Danny Boyd would like to come out and run a Fox Mustang convertible. Well, you would have to run it with a helmet to run it No Name Nationals, that's for sure. Cowboy Car Christians here says, look at the maintenance track of cost. 8th cuts it in half. Probably not in half because of all the starting line prep, but yeah, it does reduce the maintenance cost. Cowboy Car Crushing put up a neat video today, and I was watching it just before this live stream, talking about he had what was that? Like, is it a Nissan? Was it a Nissan Pathfinder Cowboy Car Crushing that you had? And it was full of old junk tires and dirt, trying to and household trash, trying to pad up the weight of the car, it looked like, or just cleaning up the yard, cramming it full. And so he's sitting there, like a surgeon, using that loader to take out windshields and windows and look in there. It was interesting, but he keeps the loads of his crushed cars clean, which it's a neat video. You guys should check it out. And I talked with Cowboy Car Crushing last year. I'd like to have him on one of these Friday Night Lives as a guest. So anyway, still like to make that happen. We need to do that. Most of the old parts wrong word says, recently saw a picture of beater bombs, ballast mounted rearward of the rear bumper. Thoughts on safety? That's a good deep question right there. You do need to have a ballast box, does need to be bolted. But that's a good deep question right there. Yeah, man, I enjoy the channel. I mean, it's not the most fun when you crush good old classic stuff, but it certainly isn't your fault. You're not the one that let her off for 50 years. You're just the one making a living, flattening it out and making it disappear. The Dust Devil said with the price of fuel, people should be begging for the eighth. That's the least of it. But, I like quarter mile. Don't get me wrong. I do like quarter mile, but there's lots of great reasons to run the eighth. And the eighth is a great racing, great track, great event. It has a lot of advantages that people might not realize. Yeah, that's what I kind of figured when you said that. He was probably putting it way back there to get crazy transfer. That's a good deep question. We'll talk about that. But when you're that far behind the rear bumper, that would get kind of weird, though, I would think. First responders is nowadays it's easy to go 80 and 90 in an eighth. Well, like we're talking about, there are cars hitting 200 in the eighth. There's lots of speed and excitement in the eighth. And the gear jammer cars never run the quarter. They only go to eighth mile tracks. Like a lot of those guys, they run gears well in the sixes. Some of those cars are geared 650, 683. You can't run that in a quarter. 4 or 5 speed, they'll run something like a G-Force or something like that. And they'll run gears way up in the sixes with those little 283, 289, under 300-inch engines, 50-pound flywheel. They're not going to run that in the quarter. So, but man, do they ever put on a show in the eighth? I did not know that Ron Ward had a Beetle. His 66 Beetle ran 84 in the eighth back in the 80s. That's cool. Dougster says he's liberal with the black pepper. You can have it all, Dougster. Yeah, I get what he's doing for Zell. I totally get it. He's basically just making a wheelie machine. This is about what he's doing there. I get it. But if you ask me, but here's the thing I don't like about that. I get what they're doing, but where do you draw the line on that? I mean, it's like these front wheel drives. I saw a front wheel drive race car one time that used CO2 canisters to pressurize the wheelie bars. So in first gear, the wheelie bars were preloaded, bearing down on the back, would pivot the car, push down on the front wheels. Well, and then when it shift to second, it would let off the pressure and the car could take off because a front wheel drive, when it tries to lift the front wheels, it's also losing traction. But at what point are you engineering something that's not even a four-wheel car anymore? If I had my way, nothing would have wheelie bars. I get it. No one to lift, right? No one to lift or pull a gear. Yeah, the Green Goblin fall on its face after the eighth to 5/13. Would you rather make a real mortal looking pass in the quarter with that car, or would you rather make a really wild pass in the eighth? I think the eighth is just, especially for what we do, is so much more exciting. Yeah, Twisted Mopar garages. We used to run 557s on the quarter. 513 was the most common gear. I have a set of 557s for an 8 3/4. There's 513s in the dark sport right now. Ron says require all competitors to run full size conversion van, problem solved. That would solve all the speed problems for at least 10 years. Although I say that, but Nick the Van Man's bringing his. If that's what people had to run, just give them a couple of years and they'll be flying. Right, and people can make whatever they want. I mean, so sure, that's fine. Bring it, do it. This reminds me, it was funny. I remember one time when I was at Virginia Tech, after a class, a student came up to the professor. I had a question I needed to ask the professor, and this guy did too. And he said, "The professor," he said, "I really need to try to rearrange when I take my final exam. Can I get it? Can I take it on a different day?" And the professor asked, he says, "Yeah, we can probably work something out. Why do you need to take it on a different day?" And he says, "Well, he says, he's attending a drag race that day." And the teacher's like, "What drag race is it?" And he says, "Well, we run the fastest all motor Honda in the world, and I kind of need to be there." And it was Mark Browning, who I think at one time had the fastest all motor Honda in the world. The people you run into, right? I have no idea what that dude's doing now. This was before Fast and Furious. He had a Civic that had just big slicks in the front and all that good stuff. Oh, there's Dr. Art. Did I see Auto Salvage Outlaws? Yeah, there we go. Hello, Auto Salvage Outlaws. Glad you could swing in and make it. Good to see you, sir. Hope you're well or getting closer to it. Unfinished Project says that the local Amish are now running air suspension on the buggies. Okay. They have a bicycle pump for raising them up, or what? They have a little generator that runs a battery that runs the pump. I mean, they're funny how they'll get around the electricity thing. Set a belt. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. Cowboy Car Christian says he's got the kids this weekend. It's dinner time. Catch up with y'all in a bit. Well, hey, thank you. Thanks for dropping in, man. Good to see you. ASO says, well, not too many stays in the hospital and too much going on. Not well at all. Too many stays in the hospital. Well, we hope that got a long road ahead of you. Yeah, man. But you know what? The fact you got a long road ahead of you means you got a long time to be here on that road. So we hope you get better and better. And we look forward to seeing your progress, man. I'd like to meet you in September, too, in person. We haven't actually met in person. So hope that works out. Be honest, you're not keen on track prep. That's awesome. Dizzy Daly to Poly 318 Poly back in the 70s. So that's cool. There was a guy that had one when I was in auto school, New River. He had a 65 or 6 Dodge pickup. I don't know, maybe even a 67. It's one of the last years of the Poly in the pickup. Mexican spec. I have no idea when I'll be able to do that. Never say never, but I don't know. I mean, I'd like to do it, but that's a big pancake to flip logistically. Some of those lawnmowers pull a good wheel stand, Colleen. Yeah, well, August is without a doubt a month with a lot going on. No doubt about that. Ron says, I think a Polyhead 318 will make an excellent hot rod engine. Yeah, yeah, I saw a link to one on YouTube. Fella made 507 supposedly on the dyno with one. They can make power, but it was the right idea. What they should have done was optimize the Poly instead of go to the LA. If they had done that, then Mopar would have had the Cleveland before Ford did. ASO's trying to stay here. Says he's lost a lot of weight. Hey, man, just fight to get fight. Big Mike says, I wonder if I could run an Amish buggy down the drag strip. What's pulling it? I know, Big Mike. You could take a rototiller. You could pull an Amish buggy with a rototiller down the track. You should do that. That would be great. Hendrix says all they had to do was widen the A-body frame rails an inch and a half. The Poly would have fit. But wouldn't it have fit anyway? I mean, wouldn't it have fit anyway? Because a big block fits. I mean, they widened the they for the 67 and up, they widened it 2 inches anyway. So yeah, that's what they should have done. One-eyed catch. Watch, your Uncle Sonny made an electric buggy once. I could see that. Yeah, you don't want horseshoes getting stuck to the track. Horseshoes, though, wouldn't do any favors to the starting line. So, yeah, first generation A body was narrower. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, you got a good point. Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, Jason. So Don has a 440 in his 62 Valiant. It fits. You just have to do some goofy stuff with the exhaust. So I would say that Poly probably would actually fit. But the exhaust will be, you probably have to do fender well headers. Which if Don did fender well headers on his, he wouldn't have to have that up and over and all that stuff. Chris 103 Custom says, what cam would you put in a 91 454 motorhome engine? What are you doing with it? What is it going in? Is it going in a motorhome? And while I'm sure that we can get suggestions in the chat, a wonderful place to ask that is in the Tech Talk on Wednesdays, especially one with Professor P, because that's what he does for a living. Or another good place to ask that is every other weekend, David Vizard and Andy Wood go live. That'd be a good place to ask that. I would say that Professor P and David Vizard are the two people that know more about valve events than anyone I know. Unfinished Project says, we had a buggy once, but it didn't have the rubberized tires, so it didn't stick around long. Ooh. Dougster says he's seen hydraulic drum brakes on an Amish wagon. Yeah, I could see that. I could see manual hydraulic drum brakes. Yeah, that'd actually be a pretty good deal. But I mean, the whole thing is strange anyway. So, you know what's interesting? I saw an ad on YouTube for an electric vehicle. It was a little enclosed golf cart that you could run on the road, a DOT legal golf cart. And that thing was expensive. I mean, it was like $8,000, but it was electric, had turn signals, horn, and all that. It had air conditioning and heating in an enclosed cab. It looked kind of like a real modern Cushman, but it was all electric. And I'm thinking, I wonder if the Amish would let themselves drive that, because after all, it is electric, and they just plug it in and charge it just like the electric tools they use with batteries. Would that be okay? I don't know. There's the full throttle kind of guy. What's going on, sir? I like that wicked looking logo you've got there. It looks like that green dude from the Jetsons, only meaner. Chris 103 Custom says, trying to get an old 71.5 Camaro funny car for your event. Okay, so you're taking, is it a stock motorhome 454? Is it stock? Because I can tell you the rest of the engine dictates what the cam should be, not the other way around. And we'd love for you to make the trek. I think you're coming out of New York State, aren't you? Maxwell Dick Dasher says, does the 454 camper engine have the extra ring on the pistons like a dump truck engine? Well, I have no idea. Dizzy's talking about the buggy wheels on the Challenger, the Whistling Diesel did. Yeah, saw it. Buys a new Challenger just to destroy it for laughs. Okay. He bought a 1916 Model T Ford to just destroy and make an episode out of, too. And it was all good and fun until then. I'm like, nah, no more. Hope you make it, man. We'd like to see you there. Unfinished Project says, no, it's about the ease and speed of travel. That buggy wouldn't qualify. It's just about engines and cars and stuff, the social implications. Yeah, but they have all kinds of weird rules. I don't, So traveling is supposed to be hard, right? Well, I wouldn't call it easy, and at the top speed on it's 25 miles an hour. Ron says, trivia question. What year did GM introduce the G-body, and which car was it? Ron, look for the answer in the chat. See who gets it first. I'll let you make the call. Let's see who gets it first. Yeah, it is weird to me. It is. It's actually weird to most people. It's weird to you, too. You don't do it. You got a W350 the world, right? But then again, Unfinished Project, the W350 and the van are 80s vehicles. They're weird to most people, most other people. All right, we've got some answers here. Let's see. You tell us who's got this. Mohawk. So Levi's guessing the Monte Carlo. Mohawk's guessing the 73 Malibu. Mexican Spec says trick question because they renamed the A body the G body. I seem like I remember something about that. Danny Boyd says 82 was the G, Cutlass Supreme, whatever. Dean says G-Body 84, changed letters. Chris just has 77. Oh, yeah. You just tell us we got a winner. Ron Ward says no correct guesses yet. Okay, that's cool. Tavo says he's got to get off here for now. Have his camera at the Chrysler show. I'm looking forward to that. Tavo, if you don't mind, when you put that video up, tag me on it. I'd like to see that. That'll be neat. Mohawk's guessing the 85 Cutlass. Frizzell says to pick a proper cam, you need a lot of information. Yeah. I would say, though, Frizzell, for his, just let us know kind of what's in the engine and what he's wanting to do with it. And I would say that Professor P could do a wonderful job of helping him spec out a cam. Insert Jeopardy theme here. Indeed. LP says 69 Grand Prix. Well, whoever gets it first, I'm going to send out some no-name nationals decals. So whomever gets that, if Ron calls the winner, you're getting some no-name nationals decals. 76 Chevette, 77 LeSabre. Kisses are jumping the shark here. I'm going to put the question back up on the screen. My goodness, is it that far back? Can't be. Oh, we have a winner. 69 Grand Prix. Is that correct, Ron Ward? He says LP94. Is that right? Stabbit says 1978. Well, you know, that kind of wrong. That does kind of go with the question I did one time, Ford's first Ranger, because, you know, that wasn't a truck. So congratulations, Lars. I'll send you out some decals. Tavo says he's going to be recording a series of videos for each model, plus a live stream at 10:30 a.m. Aussie time. Okay, cool. Make video. Let me know. I'll share it out. Twisted Mopar says this is a picture of his son's 64 Dart with a big block and manifolds. So there's how that looks. It is tight. So on Don's Valiant, they swing around the front way and go under the K-frame. It almost looks like a turbo, but it isn't. It's a Ranger. Yeah, that's right. Yep, we did do that. Twisted Mopar says it was 65 and now it's snow flurries. Yeah, we had a little bit of snow floating around in the air here a couple of days ago, which was surprising. It's okay. This time of year does that. Give it a couple more weeks. It'll be much nicer. We'll probably have another good cold snap in April. It makes you just go, oh, I thought it was supposed to be spring. Seems like in early May we have a couple of days like that just, yeah. Danny Boyd says, I thought the Grand Prix were A-body special. I don't know, maybe. I'm not fluent in GM. Indirect connection. Jason got 8 inches of snow today. Unfinished Project said the internet is a funny thing. 10 pages with 10 different answers to that G-body questions. Well, the internet decided we can completely do away with publishers. So anything goes on the internet. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. We are now the publishers of what we publish to our mind. That's kind of the way it's gone now. Colleen says, I've seen snow April 1st in South Dakota. We had a dusting of snow on the ground in Bluefield on the 19th of April 2 years ago. So Tony's Hot Rod Garage is I'll be showing off Twisted Mopar Garage, Clint Street Machines, and Heaven's Mopar shirts on tonight's live. So if you want to see the newest merch from Tony's Hot Rod Garage for channels, come check it out. Brazil is rolling out. Yeah, and Tony will be live here in a few minutes after me. Dougster says that snowmobiles are out where he is. You don't see a snow machine here for anything. I don't know of a single one anywhere in this county. They're not a thing here. I guess I would know what it was if I saw one out running around, but they are not a thing. Lars put up the link for Ron Ward. He's 3 subs away from 800. If you have not checked out the Most of the Old Parts and Rust channel, check him out. He is the voice of the No Name Nationals. So when you hear that voice coming from the tower in Sykeston, that would be Ron Ward. Who says snowmobiles here are called Subarus? That is right. Subarus are good for they're good for snow. They're good for angry vegan women to go to the library and go to their local eco protest. Don't know what that means, Tony. Sorry. What does that mean? Subarus are great for leaking oil and coolant too. I don't know. I know I saw my cousin. He had a Subaru in his shop that were putting a timing set on this week. I'm like, better y'all than me. Has 2 timing chains. They overlap on the end of the crank snout and each go over to a pair of cams. It's wild looking. Subarus are great after a hurricane as well. Yeah, those things will really go. They're good little machines. Mohawk is headed out for the evening. Cool. Tony, I can do that. Not a problem. Mexican Specs is the VW van community swear by the Subaru engine. Yeah. I mean, that's a very popular swap running that opposed Subaru. Buff and Kim have a Subaru there on that channel as well. Dean's got some knowledge here that I have no clue about. Subarus are great for Nissan automatic and ring and pinion parts. Okay. Indirect Connection says they're also great for causing traffic jams. They're always in the left lane going 5 miles an hour under. Can believe that. Scott says it's supposed to snow on the pass for tomorrow's road trip to Seattle, but we're hoping it'll be clear by the time we travel through towing the 62 Lancer. Okay. What are you towing that with, Scott? What is your tow rig, man? Tony will be on the live till crashed out. Nick says he wants to swap a Corvair engine into a VW microbus. Okay, that will be different. Yeah, Levi, you'll be happy with what Tony does. Product is excellent, service is excellent. He treats you right on the price. He's a good dude to deal with. Tony's done lots of stuff for me. And we're going to have some No Name Nationals hats coming out soon. Tony's doing them. Our buddy, Mr. Swinger, said that we're money grubbers for having No Name National shirts, even though I have probably what has to be the cheapest channel shirt on YouTube, make the least, and probably have given dozens of them away. But anyway, look out. We're doing hats next. So they're good looking hats. Tony wears prototype No Name Nationals hat sometimes. I'm going to have the hat come out. We'll have it up soon. Scott's got the Friends 98 Dodge Ram 2500 Cummins. Yeah, Nick, there you go. You need to talk to AHRA. He's the Corvette swap guy. They're cool, Don. They are cool hats. We'll be rolling them out soon. You'll see. A Greenbrier. You talking about one of those Corvair vans, Nick the Van Man? One of those goofy Corvair vans? Because if you are, I actually saw one of those in traffic a couple of weeks ago. Well, Tony's is different. We're doing a little bit different than what Tony has with his prototype. Yeah, that 300 build he's doing is coming along really well. Yes, yeah, they were cool vans. Believe it or not, Nick, I actually saw one of those things on the road here. I don't know. I think it was last month. I thought, man, I could not get a picture of it. It was just going the other way. But I thought, that was neat. Rick Salmon says, is there a host hotel motel for the No Name Nationals? I can tell you this. Most people, I would say 50% of the people or more, camp at the track. Also, the Best Western, I can say from experience, is good. The Drury is good. That's where Ron Ward stays. There's the Pear Tree is good. We've had folks stay there. We've had folks have bad experiences with the Super 8 there. But most of those hotels, motels that are there on that Sykeston Minor exit right there near Lambert's are good. And yeah, like a lot of people are telling you, there's a lot of good places to camp right there. Indeed. It's great camping there. Lots of people stayed up having a great time late, just crashed in their car. The weather's nice. Got up the next day. There's shower rooms there. There's breakfast there. So I got to tell you, there's not as much reason to leave the track as you think. Heavens Mopar sold a restored Greenbrier van about 5 years ago. It was awesome. Yeah, they're neat looking. I didn't realize they had a power glide in them, but it makes sense. Jabo says the Drury Inn's very good. Yes, it is. The only thing I don't like about the Drury is their pet policy is crazy. They want $50 per day if you have a dog. Not a $50 deposit. Not a $50 one time. They want $50 a day on top of your registration fee. So I'm like, nope. And I can't sneak Jethro in. He's 53 pounds and makes himself known. Nick says, I've had more fun camping at No Name Nationals than any van or truck in I've ever attended for what it's worth. Levi said, we've stayed at a hotel the past 2 years. We'll be at the track this year. Dean Stevenson likes that little word, Mr. Swinger, as much as I do. Let me tell you, we make so little off shirts with this. We sold a lot of shirts to track. We sell, some throughout the year. I give a lot of shirts away, but what little bit we make goes right into the event. We don't make much off shirt, but I keep them affordable. I would rather more people wear them and have the logo out there, and just what I'd rather do. What's a spectator pass cost for the weekend? You can order online early and get the weekend spectator pass for $35. At the track, it's $20 per day at the track because it's a special event. So you can get spectator tickets at the gate. You can save $5 by ordering at NoNameNationals.com and go ahead and get your spectator ticket that way if you want to save $5. But that said, I do have to cut off spectator ticket sales online about a week before, because I have to give an organized spreadsheet to will call so people can get their tickets. So I can't have online sales even really close to the gates opening for spectators for that reason. Yeah, if you order online, it's a fuzzbore at the track. Nader says that he's going to camp at the track so he can show Buck how to cook with a real Coleman stove. Yeah, there's a lot of people cooking there. I got to tell you, this is a good reason to be in the live next week, because we'll talk about all of these details. What camping at the track is like. The community just stays there and has a good time at the track. I mean, there are places to stay off site. I've done both. I've both camped and stayed hotel. I mean, Dust Devil says the only reason to leave the track is to go to Lambert's. I could agree with that. Nick says I may have 4 or 5 guys in my van club coming up, spectate, buy tickets. Yeah, they could do that. Sure can. Plenty of room. There's 22 acres there. You're in good shape. Plenty of room to camp. Great campsites there. Camp on the grass, you camp on the pavement. People do both. Rick says, I'd love to meet all the YouTubers. Well, we'd like to meet you, man. Come on out. That is a busy, busy, busy weekend for me. But I like to get to meet as many people as I can. But I'm hustling those days. Dang. 340 content. You know what's funny? And that guy loves to talk about how inferior the 318 is to the 340. Check this out, man. I love the 318. I do stuff with 318s. I have 3 340s. I have 2 sets of X heads. But I know what it is for what it's just, it's collectible stuff. It's not the big deal people think it is. And I'm soon going to be taking some heads down to Andy's to flow them, and we're going to find out what's really what. I have a feeling it's going to hurt some people knowing what Charlie's 318 heads do versus a set of 340 X heads. Vic the Van Man 90 says that the No Name Nationals is bar none the best bang for the buck event I've been to. Something for everyone. Well-planned event, nice people, not a bad experience. Yeah, you know what? I strive for that, and we have a great time. This is all about having an awesome time with the community. We love it. I thought years back, I said, I could never live long enough and be able to possibly afford the time and the money to go see everyone I'd like to go and meet in this YouTube community. So the only way to do it is to try to get them all to one place. And we did. Yeah, Rick, come here for updates on that. But next weekend, a week from tonight, we're going to have a live stream just for the new folks with all those type of questions. Dead Pedal Motors, that'd be a good one for you to come by and see. Be a live stream just for the folks new to the community, new to the event. Functional Histories, it'll be his first No Name Nationals. Well, cool. Dead Pedal Motors, it's great. Heavens No Parts says, I love the 340s. Me too. I think the 340 is great. I wouldn't have 3 of them if I didn't like them. I like the 318 too. I'd be willing to bet that if you took Charlie's heads, his 318 heads with the stock valves, stock rockers and all, and dropped them right on a stock 318 short block, it'd make awfully close to 340 factory horsepower, if not more. I mean, they flow 230 CFMs, and they're 318 heads, all 318 parts. Unfortunately, the changes, people can always say, oh, well, it's because of this, because of that. But if those heads went on a bone stock 318 short block, it very well could go over 318's factory power numbers. Those heads are pretty amazing. I don't know what your time frame's like in direct connection, but you can always get them to him in Sykeston. Or if you're doing a run through here or something, I can get them to him. He's only about 2.5 hours south of me. Well, guys, we're at time. It's flown by tonight. It's been a blast. Scott's is between my dad and I. We have 7 340s. Wow. Dude, that's a lot. Yeah, we're at our time tonight. Tony goes live right after me, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you for coming out. One more time, I'll let you know that 1 week from tonight, we are going to be this live stream. Everybody's welcome that's here now, all the regular suspects and all that. But we're going to have it's going to be specifically for answering all of the No Name Nationals questions made for the first timers. Hey, I've never driven on a track before. Where do I learn, the ropes of how do I drive on a dragway? We're going to do a tutorial video for that. Lots of that kind of stuff. It's going to be useful, especially if you've never been to the No Name Nationals before. So that's going to be a week from tonight, March 29th, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on this channel. We hope to see you guys there. And with that, I'm going to be out. I'll see you guys in at least a week, maybe sooner. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate you being in the chat.